Hello and welcome to the People's edition of Forbes Let's Talk with your hosts, me, Joe Monk,
and me, Adil Ghafar.
Our aim is to speak with partners and significant people within the firm.
And to break down barriers and gain an insight into what makes them tick.
Talking all things legal, business and career progression.
Good afternoon, Laura. How are you, Laura?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you both?
Very good, thank you. Very good. Thank you for
doing good.
our podcast. Thank you very much for coming on our podcast.
No problem. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Just to introduce yourself, but those aren't aware, your official title is the Director of People and Organisation Development. And for those that don't know, what does that encompass? Because it's not something you really associate, maybe perhaps with a traditional law firm. Could you give us a bit more information as to what that involves?
Of course. So traditionally, Director of People would have been known as the Director of HR, Human Resources. So looking after all things people related at whatever business you work in, really. Organisational development really lends itself to looking after the business as a whole in terms of how it develops its people and the learning of those people and how we can best serve those either internally, externally. So it's really encompasses the whole thing. Anything to do with people, you generally find me or one of my colleagues will be involved.
Oh, so what would a typical day look like for you in your role?
For me, my day-to-day looks like me going from one meeting to another meeting and then to another meeting. Certainly, it has been recently. But ordinarily, what we do is we'd start off with a bit of a team debrief every day just to check in, see where everyone's up to, make sure things are still ticking over, things are moving forward. With individual people issues that are ongoing, team people issues that are ongoing, and then the wider business people and L&D stuff. So L&D is learning and development. So I'd probably say I'll slip into saying L&D quite a lot. So and we'll just check in with both the people function, the HR function, and then the training team. So
earlier on in your career, because I know that you studied psychology at Loughborough University.
I did. How did you know that?
We've got our sources.
We've got our sources.
Wow. Yeah, I did social psychology at Loughborough University.
I think you went to Chester, didn't you, to do GDL in your legal practice course after that?
Yeah, so I'm from Chester and I live there now. I've moved back to Chester during the pandemic, me and my husband and our family. And I went for a walk past the College of Law in Chester the other day, and actually it's no longer the College of Law in Chester. They're turning it into flats. I couldn't believe it. There'll be so many people at Forbes who did study at the College of Law in Chester.
Yeah, I know it's a common institution. It was Wisconsin where people have studied. How did you find doing the GDL? I mean, I did that myself, and it was very, very intense.
The contact time with tutors was minimal. So my third year was actually only 3 hours contact time a week. So really minimal. That a lot of it was focused on research and doing your dissertation in your third year. And I played a lot of hockey at uni as well. So I spent a lot of my time doing that and playing with the facilities that were at that university. So the GDL was a shock to my system, I think I would put it as, but a great base to learn from and springboard, knowing what your career in law is going to eventually look like anyway. So it certainly set the stall out for me.
Just to follow up on your career in law, did you ever envisage the role you'd be doing today? So did you have in mind that I want to be a director of people? How did that crop up in your career?
So absolutely not. The thought process for me personally, so I went to uni, did social psychology, thought I want to do something to do with crime, I wanted to go into the police, but anybody who does see me wandering around will see that I've not been blessed with height, and that was certainly a barrier to me going into the police. I'm not sure how successful I probably would have been at 2 o'clock in the morning chasing down somebody and trying to arrest them. I'm not sure what use I would actually have been. But so I thought, what else can I do? Crime. So maybe I could be a solicitor, and did some work experience. And certainly no intention of coming into HR, but as I progressed and got a role, I started as a graduate clerk, which is known as paralegal now, at Stevenson Solicitors, which was based out of Wigan. So I moved to Wigan, was doing a graduate paralegal role in civil liberties team in prison law. So going into prisons all over the country, looking after people who had been recalled into prison or had done something they shouldn't have done, where you'd attend in front of the district judge and during an adjudication, and prevent them getting additional days added onto their sentence or something like that. I was eventually successful in securing a training contract at Stevenson Solicitors, where I trained with Jenny Burke, who many of you all know, who's a solicitor in our corporate team. We trained together at Stevenson's, had 2 years there, and subsequently came across to Forbes. Now, during my training contract, I did 2 seats in the employment departments over at Stevenson's. They had 2. They had one that looked after people when you could get legal help and legal aid support for employment issues. And that's no longer the case anymore. And then they also had their commercial employment team, which is the team I qualified into. And then I came over as an employment solicitor to Forbes after about 1 year, PQE. And the rest, they say, is history. So Jonathan Holden brought me across. And pretty much right from the get-go, I was or placed on secondment. So I went and did a secondment at Progress Housing Group in their HR team, and I supported the HR function to do pretty much a full restructure of the whole organisation, right from start to finish. Supported the HR director over there, pulling all that together, and supported the senior leadership team there to sort that restructure out, and it saved over £1 million. That was the target, and that's what they needed to do for what the government had set out as to what all housing associations had to do. They had to secure over £1 million worth of savings. And we were able to do that. And so I was there 3 days a week, essentially, for nearly 2 years. So I was more an employee of Progress than I was at Forbes at the time. And that's really where my interest in HR consultancy essentially came from. And given the experience I got there, we were then able to cross-sell that into other businesses that I worked for. I specialised in public sector side of the team, in our employment team. And that's where this opportunity arose from.
That's really interesting. So like I say, you did your training at Stevenson Solicitors, and obviously you now gone on to progress very well at Forbes. I mean, what attracted you to Forbes in the first place? Like, what was sort of the key qualities that made you want to move as opposed to maybe staying with Stevenson's?
So Stevenson's was a great platform for me. They gave me the opportunity to specialise in employment and gave me a good grounding in it. What Forbes offered was more the variety of clients that I would work for, and the quality of the work, the people as well. Certainly Stevenson's was a great place to work, but Forbes really had that little something extra. And I was lucky enough to meet Jonathan Holden not long after he became head of the employment team. I think I was only his second recruit into the team at the time, and when it was very small. So when I joined, it was myself, Jonathan, Ruth Mullen, Amy Stokes, and Tom Wood. Judith Scragg was also in the team, but really that was about it from a qualified perspective, with a couple of junior paralegals supporting us as well. So really small team compared to what it looks like now. It's grown arms and legs, and is a really thriving and successful team in the business.
Wow. And just moving on, I know you're on the panel for the promotions at Forbes, for the internal promotions. How did that role come about, Laura?
So as the director of people, my predecessor, Joanne Pickering, she was on the first round of promotion. So as the director of people, you you really are integral in terms of how the recruitment processes and selection processes happen at Forbes, and that's really where it comes from. That's why I sit on. Also, I've got a little bit of a USP going on where I am a qualified solicitor, so I understand the people who are coming for promotion, what it means to them and how they want to progress in their career. My career has obviously taken a different direction, and I've gone, although I maintain my practicing certificate as a director here, because I'm able to give legal advice, and I do so on a regular basis. So I have a little bit of a USP there. And it's important for me to be on that panel because I'm the checks and balances, essentially. I know really what's going on in all departments, whereas the rest of the panel may not know what's going on. I can support both the panel and the member of staff during the interview process. And I offer that real checks and balances in terms of whether the decisions we're making are those right decisions and they'll work for the wider business.
Yeah, that's great.
So if we turn on to now your role within HR, and obviously there's been a lot of emphasis really on mental health within the workplace. I think over the last few years, like the term ESG, environment, social governance, has really come to the fore within law firms, and I've read articles over the coming last few years, and they talk about how the social aspect is really neglected in terms of improving employee well-being, how we can help, physical health. It's just the same as mental health. If anyone's struggling physically, it's very easily seen, but mentally, you don't know what people are feeling, what's going on within their private lives. So,
absolutely.
And we've seen already firsthand internally the steps HR are taking to help improve mental health with employees. What sort of other steps are we looking to take forward with it, and how important do you see it as promoting within the firm?
Yeah, so health and well-being, it really is fundamental to what we as a people and OD team will be doing moving forward. It forms one of the projects that we have in our business plan that we want to bring to the fore in terms of offering more support for all our staff, both managers and members of staff and our partners. We are developing a health and wellbeing strategy. Part of that is looking at not only physical health, but mental health, looking at financial wellbeing as well, looking at social well-being, as well as you've identified, Joseph. But what's important is that we are the small things when it comes to health and well-being. What we want to do as an organisation is make sure everybody feels at home here, feels able to talk, doesn't feel like they can't engage with their colleagues and get support for their physical and mental health. Now, not everybody isn't a qualified medical practitioner, and that's really important for us as an organisation to remember. We shouldn't be offering that advice in terms of medical advice, but what we should be doing as a collective group, be able to signpost people accordingly, and that's really our biggest thing that we're working on, that you guys all have the utensils essentially to be able to do that. The internet is going to be getting a bit of a makeover, and there's going to be more signposting available on the internet. We're setting up support networks with local charities and organisations to offer peer support as well for certain conditions. So such as we're going to be creating a relationship with Macmillan for those that are going through cancer care whilst they're still employed with us. To offer that additional support. We're going to be working with a number of people regarding the menopause and offering peer support for lots of women going through the menopause, not just women, offering support for men who are living with people and living with women that are going through the menopause, and how they can support at home and in the office. So because many of our managers will be managing women who are going through the menopause or will go through the menopause at some point, and it's really important that they have the tools to know how to manage and support those people.
Absolutely. That's brilliant, Laura. Just to add on to that, we've also got the diversity inclusion, and I think you form part of the gender gap report that we're very proud of. And, as a firm, do you reckon we're moving in the right direction, incorporating how important integrity, diversity and inclusion is to a law firm?
Oh, it's absolutely fundamental to everything that we do. You'll see from the gender pay gap report that things are moving in the right direction. I can't sugarcoat it. We have a gap, but you'll see from last year's report and the previous 3 years that the gap is closing. I fully expect to see the figures reduce again next year. Those will be out on the 4th of April next year, and when the next report will come. So it's a bit of time for us to wait, but we've got the snapshot data will have already been taken there. The snapshot data gets taken on the 5th of April of this year. So we can't influence it over the next 12 months, but we can influence over the next 12 months what happens in the following years. And certainly that's high on our agenda to look at it. One of the main projects that I'm working on at the moment, which is one of the central projects of the firm as a whole, is benefits and development. So it's looking at everything that we do in terms of pay and benefits, what our strategy is, and how we can retain and attract the best talent, because we have tremendous talent here at Forbes, and it's really important that we retain that to support us in our development and growth strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to move on, I know recently you did the focus groups on the Forbes vision and values.
Yeah.
So when you come up with these, what metrics do you go off? Like the marketing and the research, what goes into saying, well, this is the values we want to encapsulate. I know part of it was the focus group, the employees at Forbes. What else do you go off?
So we don't really. What we've done and how I've approached that project is our values are really crucial to who we are as a firm. As you know, people will talk about the Forbes family and how unique we are, and you're either in us or you're not. Essentially, it's that clear cut. You're a Forbes person or you're not a Forbes person, and we do really well with who we attract, and that's what we've done this time, is taken an opportunity of looking at those values and what do they mean to us as people. And that's where the focus groups came in. Is we talked a lot about what they mean to individuals and to teams, and how we can express them better if they could have been expressed better. And I'm pleased to say that we have been able to refine them. I'm not able to tell you what they quite are here, because there is we're going to make quite a big deal of these and relaunch them. Relaunch the refresh at the staff conference, which is likely to be happening in September time again. So I won't give the cat out of the bag at this point, but it's certainly it's something that we're going to be focusing on at the next staff conference.
That's really good. I think me and Adil did participate in the focus groups we did. I think was it back in January, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, January, February time.
Yeah, so they were really good 2-hour sessions. Really, it was good to see the different perspectives, what other colleagues think, and ideas to take forward with exec when sort of formulating the visions and values.
So we had a meeting with exec only last week. We are working with an external consultant as well who's helping us refine them, and we're creating the behaviour framework also that sits behind, and you guys were obviously both on the focus groups. You heard me talking a lot about behaviours and what we expect people to exhibit when they are showing the we excel value, and how do they do that. So what we've been able to do is create a behaviour framework that's going to sit with each value. So you'll be able to say, oh, well, to know that we excel, I've got to do X, Y, and Z. And if I want to move on and get promoted through this business, I need to be demonstrating X, Y, and Z as well. And that's really going to help and make the whole process of the career framework that we have here at Forbes even more transparent.
I think it as well, because it's coming from, you're not just going straight to exec with what you think. You're actually going through all colleagues, regardless of what position they're in, to really help.
Yes, that was really important. Yeah, it's really important that this comes from the people, not from exec. Exec are part of our people, but we have to know that we've got to understand what our people want and why our value is, and our vision and our values are, what our people can exhibit. We don't want to set people up to fail. They need to be realistic, and they need to be clear, and that's what hopefully we have achieved this time.
That's brilliant. So we're coming towards the final part of the podcast now, and we got a question from our previous guest, Sharoz, to put forward to you.
Okay.
So his question was, what inspires you to do what you do each and every day?
I've got a really great family around me, and I couldn't do this job without my family and my kids and my husband and my parents and stuff, and all the support network I've got. But in terms of day-to-day life, we as a department, the people in my department are just brilliant at what they do. I'm not a HR specialist. That's not where I come from. I'm an employment lawyer by trade, and they inspire me every day to be better, to grow, and you learn. You never stop learning. Even though I'm a director, I might have reached the top of the tree in terms of where I can get in my career here as a director, but certainly that's I learn every day from the people that I work with, and they inspire me the most.
Oh, that's brilliant. So the next round of our interview is the quick fire rounds. Me and Joseph will ask you a question each, and we want one answer. Laura, if that's all right.
Yeah, one word answer.
One word
if
answer.
Possible, if possible.
If possible. So I'll go first. So work or play, Laura?
Play. Hockey.
Ideal. Hockey, yeah, that's fair. Superpower. Ideal superpower.
Turning back time. I'd like that.
Yeah.
One Forbes value, Laura, that resonates with you the most.
We excel.
Yeah, that was mine as well. Yeah. Who is your hero, role model?
Oh, cliche, my mum, definitely.
Yeah. So I like that.
Favorite Netflix series?
Suits.
Yeah, that's it. Brilliant. What would your if you weren't obviously a lawyer, HR director, what would your ideal career, alternative career be?
I would love to have been in the police. I'd love to go in doing investigations and solving crimes. Definitely.
That's brilliant. No, I think that concludes our interview, Laura. Thank you very much for coming on, and we've learned a lot, took a lot away, and it's been really interesting. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be on.
Thank you, Laura. Take care.
Take care, Laura.
Bye.